Steam is absolutely loaded with insane deals right now, and honestly, this might be one of the best sales we've seen in a while. We're talking 90% discounts on some incredible games, modern AAA titles selling for the price of a coffee, hidden gems that almost nobody talks about, and even a brand new football game that's already beating Rematch in concurrent players. And the best part is, these aren't random cheap games just because they are on sale. These are games people genuinely love, and right now you can grab them for almost nothing. So let's jump right into it, because the very first few deals are honestly some of the best ones in this entire sale. Let's start with Zombie Vikings, currently sitting at a massive 90% discount. If you're looking for a fun game to play with friends, this one deserves way more attention than it gets. It's a side-scrolling co-op beat-em-up from the creators of Stick Fight, packed with ridiculous humor, colorful visuals, and non-stop action. Every character has unique abilities, the bosses are creative, and the entire game never takes itself too seriously. It feels like one crazy adventure after another, especially when you're playing with a full squad, and with a 90% discount right now. It's one of those hidden gems that's absolutely worth adding to your library. Next up is Freedom Fighters, also available with a huge 90% discount. This is one of those classic games that many people grew up playing, but newer gamers have probably never experienced. You play as an ordinary plumber who becomes the leader of a resistance movement during an alternate history invasion of New York. What made Freedom Fighters so special was its squad command system. Instead of fighting alone, you recruit resistance members and order them to attack, defend, or follow you through every mission. Even today, the gameplay still feels surprisingly satisfying, and the story does a great job of making you feel like you're slowly taking back the city. If you somehow missed this classic, now is definitely the time to fix that while it's sitting at 90% off. And next we have Breathedge, currently discounted by 90%, and this is easily one of the funniest survival games you can play. Imagine Subnautica, but in space, with an absurd sense of humor. You're stranded among the wreckage of a massive space disaster, trying to survive by crafting equipment, building tools, collecting oxygen, and exploring abandoned stations floating through space. But unlike most survival games, Breathedge constantly throws jokes at you, breaks the fourth wall, and refuses to take itself seriously. Underneath all the comedy though, there's actually a really solid survival experience with satisfying progression and plenty to discover. At 90% off, it's an easy recommendation if you're looking for something different from the usual survival formula. Next up is Remember Me, currently sitting at a massive 90% discount. Before the studio created Life is Strange, they made this underrated sci-fi action game, and honestly, it deserves way more attention. You play as Nylan, a memory hunter living in a futuristic version of Paris, where people's memories can literally be edited, stolen, or completely rewritten. The world feels unique, the soundtrack is fantastic, and one of the coolest mechanics lets you dive into someone's memories and change key moments, completely altering their future. The combat mixes martial arts with special abilities, and while it's not the longest game out there, it's one of those experiences that sticks with you long after the credits roll. At 90% off, it's one of the easiest recommendations in this entire sale. And next is Dead Island 2 Ultimate Edition, also dropping to an incredible 90% discount. If you love zombie games, this is one of the best deals available right now. The Ultimate Edition includes the full game along with all the major DLC, extra characters, weapons, and plenty of additional content. The combat is easily the biggest highlight. Every hit feels satisfying, the gore system is unbelievably detailed, and experimenting with different weapons never gets old. Whether you're smashing zombies with a sledgehammer, electrifying them with modified bats, or setting entire groups on fire, the gameplay constantly keeps things entertaining. It's even better in co-op, making it a fantastic game to play with friends. Seeing the Ultimate Edition at 90% off honestly feels unreal. Moving on, Endzone, A World Apart is currently available with a huge 90% discount. This is a post-apocalyptic city builder where humanity is trying to rebuild civilization after a global nuclear disaster. You're responsible for every aspect of your settlement, from food and clean water to electricity, radiation, and surviving dangerous sandstorms. Unlike many city builders, every decision matters because one mistake can put your entire colony at risk. If you're a fan of games like Frostpunk or Banish, there's a very good chance you'll enjoy Endzone as well, and at 90% off, it's one of the strongest strategy deals you can grab right now. Next, we have The Last Campfire, currently available for an incredible 90% off. This is one of those games that completely flies under the radar, but anyone who's played it will probably tell you the same thing. It's something special. You play as a lost ember searching for purpose in a mysterious world filled with beautiful environments, clever puzzles, and emotional storytelling. There's no pressure to rush, no difficult combat, just a relaxing adventure that slowly unfolds as you explore. It's the perfect game to unwind after a long day, and despite its simple gameplay, it leaves a surprisingly lasting impression. At 90% off, it's absolutely worth picking up. Up next is God Eater 3, also discounted by a massive 90%. If you're a fan of Monster Hunter but want something much faster and more action-packed, this is a game you should definitely check out. You hunt enormous creatures called Aragami, using transforming weapons that can switch between melee combat, ranged attacks, and giant blade forms in the middle of battle. Every fight is fast, flashy, and full of satisfying combos, while the progression system gives you plenty of reasons to keep upgrading your gear. You can also tackle missions with friends, making the experience even more enjoyable. At this price, it's one of the best action RPG deals currently on Steam. And next we have Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun, sitting at an incredible 90% discount. This is easily one of the best stealth strategy games ever made. Set in feudal Japan, you control a team of specialists, each with completely different skills, and every mission feels like a carefully designed puzzle. One character distracts guards, another silently eliminates enemies from the shadows, while someone else sneaks into places nobody else can reach. Success isn't about rushing in, it's about planning every move and watching your strategy come together perfectly. If you enjoy games like Commandos or Desperados, this is an absolute must play, especially while it's available for 90% off. Next up is Vampyr, currently available with a huge 90% discount. If you've never played this one, you're in for one of the most unique RPGs in recent years. You play as Jonathan Reed, a doctor who suddenly finds himself turned into a vampire during the 1918 flu pandemic in London. What makes the game so interesting is that every citizen has their own story, relationships, and daily routine. You can choose to save lives and resist your vampire instincts, or feed on innocent people to become much stronger, but every decision changes the city around you. The dark atmosphere, meaningful choices, and satisfying combat make Vampyr a game that's easy to get immersed in. At 90% off, it's an absolute steal. And next we have The Surge 2, also sitting at an incredible 90% off. This is a sci-fi action RPG that takes the challenging combat of Souls-like games and gives it its own unique twist. Instead of simply defeating enemies, you can target specific body parts to cut off armor pieces and weapons, letting you build your character exactly the way you want. Every fight rewards precision and patience, while the futuristic setting, mechanical enemies, and deep progression system keep things interesting from beginning to end. If you enjoy difficult but rewarding combat, this is easily one of the best deals in the sale. Moving on, the FIRWRC is currently discounted by a massive 90%. Whether you're already into rally racing or just want something different from traditional circuit races, this is a fantastic pickup. Built by the developers behind the Dirt Rally series, it features officially licensed cars, real championship teams, and some of the most challenging rally stages you'll find in any racing game. Driving at full speed through narrow forests, snowy mountain roads, and muddy trails demands complete concentration, and that's exactly what makes every successful run feel so rewarding. At 90% off, racing fans really have no reason to skip this one. Next up is A Plague Tale: Innocence, now available for an incredible 90% off. This is one of the best story-driven adventures you can buy at this price. Set in medieval France during the Black Death, you follow Amicia and her little brother Hugo as they struggle to survive against soldiers, the Inquisition, and endless swarms of deadly rats. The game combines stealth, simple puzzles, and emotional storytelling into an experience that's incredibly hard to put down. The relationship between the two main characters is what really carries the journey, making every chapter feel personal and memorable. If you've been waiting for the perfect time to play this modern classic, 90% off is about as good as it gets. Next up are Warhammer End Times, Vermintide and Warhammer Vermintide 2, both available with an incredible 90% discount. If you've never tried these games before, think of them as medieval Left 4 Dead. You and 3 other players fight your way through massive hordes of Skaven and Chaos warriors, using everything from swords and axes to bows, magic, and devastating ranged weapons. Teamwork is absolutely essential because trying to survive alone usually doesn't end well. Each character has multiple careers with unique abilities, giving you plenty of reasons to replay missions and experiment with different playstyles. Whether you're completely new to the Warhammer universe or already a fan, these are some of the best co-op games you can buy, especially at 90% off. Up next is The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante, currently discounted by a huge 90%. This is a game that's almost entirely driven by your choices, and nearly every decision has lasting consequence. You follow Sir Brante from childhood all the way into adulthood, adulthood, making difficult moral decisions that shape not only his life, but the fate of an entire kingdom. Every conversation, relationship, and major event can send the story in a completely different direction, leading to dozens of possible outcomes. If you enjoy narrative RPGs where your choices actually matter instead of just changing a few dialogue lines, this is a hidden gem that's absolutely worth experiencing. At 90% off, it's one of the best storytelling deals you can grab right now. And finally, there's a brand new free-to-play football game called Strikers Club, and it's already making some serious noise. In fact, it recently surpassed Rematch in concurrent players, which is pretty impressive for such a new release. Instead of trying to be a realistic football simulator, Strikers Club focuses on fast-paced online matches, responsive controls, and skill-based gameplay where every goal feels earned. The matches are quick, the mechanics are easy to learn, and because it's completely free to play, there's nothing stopping you from jumping in and seeing what all the hype is about. If you're looking for a new multiplayer game to play with friends, this is definitely one to keep an eye on. And that's it for today's best Steam deals. If you found a game you want to pick up, let me know down in the comments. I'm always curious to see what everyone ends up buying during these sales. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and I post new Steam deals every week, so you never miss the biggest discounts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.